Today we are going to add a detailed view for our restaurant. We're also going to be adding a share action where we can share the description, the title of the restaurant, and an image. We're also going to be adding a UI context menu to the cells in order to add another option for the user to share and rate the restaurant. Okay, let's begin by modifying our restaurant service. We're going to be making two changes here. The first one is this service will be able to give us a restaurant, giving a restaurant ID. Now, since we're going to do sharing in this episode, sharing from a simulator is not that exciting because it only have the option for reminders. So in order to install to a device and test with this mocked server, we need to be able to change this localhost for the local IP address that I get from my Wi-Fi. So for that, we're going to pass the domain as another variable so that it's easier to change. Another change that we'll be making is that view models that we had in our categories view model, those converters from model entities like category, restaurant, and rating, we're going to be using them on other scenes. So we're going to centralize them in a presenter. Okay, and our first step will be to create the restaurant detail scene. For now, this is what our view model will do. It's just returning some attributes for the image name, the description, the title, and also our rating view model items. Here we're just configuring the collection view as we did in our categories view. It's going to be another composition and layout collection view. We're going to be just using one section for now, and it's going to be a list. We're going to be using the same rating cell that we created on the previous episode, and we're going to be presenting everything with a restaurant. All of the information we get it from our view model. Now I'm going to be instantiating this from different places, so I'm going to create a convenience method here. Now let's go to our categories view controller. And here we're just getting the restaurant from our view model, then the restaurant controller with the method that we just created. And if we get all of those, we push the controller to the navigation step. Now that we have this, we're just missing adding ourselves as the delegate for the collection view. And let's run this. Here and here we go. Now let's add here in the navigation bar, let's add a share action so that we can share this restaurant using other applications. We're gonna add a bar button item. When we tap this calls the tap share, and here we need to present a view controller that we already have, which is UIActivityViewController. This one takes an array of any. These are the items that we want to share. This can be string, images, or URLs, and the application activities, which can be used for different things like restricting what you want to share. In this case, we're not going to do that. We're just missing this array of any items, which we're going to get from our view model. Now for this one, to get the shareable items from our restaurant is something that we're going to do from different places in the app. So I'm going to centralize all of this function in a use case. So here we're just gonna share a string and an image. We're not gonna be sharing a URL in this episode. And since eventually we're gonna do this from the categories view, I'm gonna add this right now. Let's test this in the simulator. And here we have it. Now notice that in the simulator, again, we just have the reminder. So let's test it out on a real device. And here you can see that on my device, we have more options. Let's choose messages. And we can see how we have the string that we pass and the image. And we can share it. Now that we have the sharing, let's add a context menu for our categories view controller. So each time I'm gonna long press on a restaurant, I want to show a context menu that gives the user the option to share or rate that restaurant. Luckily, UI Collection View Delegate already has done most of the job for us, and we only need to pass the UI context menu configuration when the user long presses on that collection view cell. So the preview provider is an optional view controller that you can pass if you want to have a preview view in your UI context menu. If you just want the actions like buttons and that's it, then you just pass nil here. And here in our action provider is where we return our buttons. We're going to return is a UI menu. So these are the two actions for sharing. Again, we're getting the items from our view model that uses our use case, and we just present a UI activity controller with those items. And for our rate action, we did what we did in the previous implementation for this on the previous episode, which is just assigning the ID of the restaurant that's being rated, and we present the rate view. Both of these actions, we pass them to our UI menu in our UI context menu configuration. Try long pressing. Here's what happens when you pass a preview provided in the view controller. You have this preview, and then we have our menu with the title that we specified and our two actions. Let's tap on share. Here's what we got before. Let's try with this one, and let's try rating it. And there we have our rating. That was all for today. The share action is very simple to implement in iOS with UIActivityController. It's very easy to pass string images and URLs and let the operating system decide which of the apps that are installed on the device are capable of handling it. Collection views and table views deal with the heavy lifting of UI context menus. You just need to pass a provider if you want to have a preview. If not, you just pass buttons that perform actions that users can do somewhere else in your app, but the context menu makes it easier for them to perform. Hope you like it. See you next time. Bye.